Hi friends, it's Barbara Erdahl and I'm here in my cozy rocking chair with our knit and chat for this week. Or spin, but chat. Either way, it's a chat. And the background is probably familiar if you've watched before. Of the Astra blanket that I haven't added to since last summer. And the crystal cross that's from a friend. And behind that are the letters Joy for joy, because that's my word, is just joy. And when you can't have joy, life just isn't, it just isn't. So joy is where I try to land myself. Week's been busy. Last week was very busy as I prepared to go up to Port Elgin to share in a celebration of ministry with colleagues within the United Church of Canada. I was ordained to the ministry of sacrament, word, and pastoral care. And I'm really excited about the next steps. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about my current projects and what I'm doing in the fiber world. So I will show you my current sock, my current work in progress is this. It's the skip. I don't know whether you can actually see the pattern if I move it up here a little bit closer. So between the white, which is the heel, and the markers, there's 12 rows and a little bit more. So I've got a bit more to do before I catch the toe, but I thought I would show you the finished sock. So it's an interesting yarn that was gifted to me for my birthday last year, and it fades from dark to light, and then I did the afterthought heel with the light. In hindsight, it would have been smarter to begin from the outside and do the light all the way down until it got darker. And then darker in the heel where the heel gets worn and squished and pushed around. But either way, one's done. Question of the day, can I finish this? So the rest of the foot, about this long, the toe and the heel, by the end of the day on Friday. Don't know. These are the socks for June. So June is coming up a little bit quickly. So that's one thing I've been knitting. And today I'm trying a knit of a pattern that just came out, in Spin-Off. And it's for a scarf. And it's kind of a lacy pattern. Let me see if I can get that. I've only done a few rows, so I really don't know. And this is what I spun up last night. I probably have enough for one more needle. And this is some of the fiber that I dyed earlier. It's a merino nylon blend from Knit Picks. And it is so soft. So this is my strawberry colorway with the green, and no, it's the watermelon with the green and the red and no seeds. So it's a seedless watermelon. How's that? Right? Nice and fluffy. I don't know where that brown came from, but we'll get rid of that. And the single was done on this spindle, which is the Celtic Whirl. It's a 3D printed that I bought in Kitchener a few years ago, and then plied on my favorite wooden spindle that I got just south of Owen Sound a number of years ago. Isn't that pretty? And it is my go-to for plying and oftentimes for spinning as well. When I'm sitting in the chair, it's a little long, but it works either way. It works either way. So those are the new things, or the works in progress that are showing some progress. I've done a couple of rows on my whatever sweater, but not a lot. I didn't take it with me to the conference. What I did take, and I'll just reach in my handy dandy bag here, is my Boneyard shawl. Oh, that's getting too big to really stretch out anymore. I did take this and I worked a few rows of it during one of the meetings. It's a commercial yarn that was gifted to me, thrifted to me, and it's a prayer shawl that will go with the rest of the prayer shawls at the church. So I did just about that much. I didn't do very much at all, but that's what else I worked on. And then something else new, if I can find my little bag here. I thought I had everything laid out so that I could show you easily. But sometimes that just doesn't happen. Nope. Nope, nope. Here it is. Here it is. So I have a bag of leftover sock yarn, and I've got a lot more in the other room. And I've been working on these crocheted hexies. So that one I did last week, or the week before. And then this is the one I did yesterday. I'm caught up in my hook. There we are. And I'm trying to see. There's the front. So I'll go around and I'll put another white one and then another colored one with the sock yarn. I really didn't enjoy working with the green. It's finer. So if I put the two together, I don't know. Yeah, it's a very, very fine lace weight almost, as opposed to sock weight. So that's something else I picked up just to try to see if I'd like it or where I would go with it. I'm still not sure. I don't like the crochet hook. It's an old one and it's got a couple spots where it's catching. So I may have to replace that with another thrifted one, or maybe I'll just buy a new one. Maybe. So those are my mini hexies. I haven't done anything with the English paper piecing. What I did do last week was hem a pair of jeans for Nick so that he'd have something nice to wear on Saturday. And I fixed the hole in his old denim jeans that were wearing out. So I kind of connected the two and sewed them up on the machine. And my white blouse that I accidentally burned and ripped when I was trying to iron it too hot, I was able to sew that hole so it looks like a little tiny dart. I did that last week. So I got a bit of mending done, which is really good. But other than that, I don't think. That's my fiber world right now. With a lot of this, and I do have, I should say a lot, I did start on my wheel with it. So I plied up the brown that had been sitting on my wheel since February on Monday, I think it was, and I started to spin this on the wheel as well. So, and it will be a 2-ply just like this is a 2-ply that I'm working with. I don't know whether I'm going to continue with a scarf. So maybe that's something you can help me decide. Would you or have you worn a pink scarf? I don't know. I mean, because it's merino, it is wool. It might be dressy enough for spring and not too heavy because it's not bulky, it's light. And it should drape pretty well. Might drape more if I use larger needles maybe. So I'm not too sure whether this is just a test knit for myself to see if I like the pattern and I like the way it's going to fall, or am I going to find a different yarn. I don't need another scarf, but this pattern I found in the current issue of Spin Off, which I get through my online library through Libby, which I really like because I don't usually use more than one pattern out of any of the knitting magazines or the spinning magazines. So buying the whole thing doesn't seem to make a lot of sense when I can borrow it. And it will be on my shelf until the next issue comes out. So I'll have a while to look through it. But there is still only one pattern that I wanted to try, at least right away. So that's kind of where that came from if you're interested. It's in the current summer issue of Spin Off. And the writer goes into some detail about how she spun the yarn to make it the wool. And the pattern's really easy, really, really easy. And she gives it to you both in the round and on straight needles. So you've got different options with what to do with that. So I think maybe what I can do while we're talking here is pick up the sock again and just chat. I think it's spring up on the mountain in Hamilton, so the temperatures are cool, maybe just over 20 here now, Fahrenheit. So I don't, or centigrade, I don't know what that is Fahrenheit, so that's all right. But it's chilly, and it's only about 20 here in the basement. So from time to time we turn the fireplace on to get the dampness out, and then that triggers the air conditioner so the people upstairs don't get too hot. It's a very strange setup, and the air conditioner is not really working the way they'd like it to work, and I understand that. So we've got someone coming to look at it next week. Our flower garden is doing really well. We have giant iris that came out, but the storms blew them over. So when I go out and check on them today, I'll have to see if they're salvageable or whether I'll need to cut them and bring them in. And do they smell too strong for me to keep them in the house? I don't know. My peonies are coming out, and again, the storm knocked over a couple of them, but I have some twine and I'm going to tie them up because they do get really heavy, and they're so pretty. I've got a pink and a white, so loving that. The neighbor on the other side of us has peonies, and they're coming out, but they're on the other side of the fence, so I can't really bring any of them in. But they're pretty to look at. They're really, really nice. We were able to plant cucumbers that we got starts from. And I planted a couple of pieces of potato that had gone to seed in my bag, and some marigolds. And in the other bin, some more marigolds and tomatoes. We've got 6 tomato plants. The Amish paste tomato. Plus, again, a couple pieces of potato on the ends, just because. And I have some seed. I have green bean or yellow beans, sunflower, and nasturtium. So they'll have to go in probably this weekend. And we'll figure out what we're going to do about keeping the critters away from those, or where they'll fit in the garden best. I'm not sure at this point. So we actually need a third garden, I think. Anyway, that's kind of where the garden is right now. The tulips are pretty well done. Daffodils were done. We don't have any lilacs on the property at all. There are some columbines that are starting to come out, and there's some Japanese lantern that is also coming out. Of course, it takes a while before they look like the little orange lanterns, but they've got a pretty white blossom on them. So I'm kind of excited to see how many of them blossom this year. So that'll be kind of nice too. I think that's pretty much it. On my crafting to-do list will be to cut out some more fabric for the English paper piecing so that I can continue. I think I'm out of anything to work on right now. And also to cut out a skirt for myself. I have the material, I have the pattern since last summer, so it's time. Get it done before this summer, right? Those are kind of on my list, along with continuing to spin on the wheel this watermelon fiber that I dyed up. I think it's such a pretty color, pretty shades. We'll have to see how they all come out. Maybe next week I'll have some of that to show you as well. One of the things that kind of came across my mind and across my desk over the weekend and into this week is the idea of gratitude, and how so many of us like to complain. We complain about the weather. We complain about people who do things that are different than we do. We complain about the government. We complain about finance. And it's just one long conversation. Oh, and our health. We always complain about our health, right? or the healthcare system. But what I realize is that the more you complain about it, the more there is to complain about. True? So I'm trying to change the thought process and move into gratitude. So when my body's not responding the way I want it to, I turn that into being grateful for the fact that I woke up this morning, that I can see, that I can hear, I can smell, and I can move. When the neighbor does things that kind of may irritate me, not that they do, but just as an example, I'll change that into, we have really good neighbors who care about the community. So changing that negative thought process into something positive kind of helps to get through the day, doesn't it? We don't always have to be negative about things. Ew, I don't like that. Why? You know, we complain when we're in the car and people cut us off. Well, what's the positive in that? I was aware enough that I stopped and put on the brakes so that there was no accident. There's always something to find positive. Just as there's always something to find negative, we can look at the plus side, I should say. Even when I'm knitting and I don't like something, when I first cast on this new scarf pattern, I was like 6 stitches short and I ran out, and I didn't like that. It bothers me. I was trying to figure out how I could keep going and not work with it. Do I start from the other end of the ball? I mean, it was a tiny ball, so it really wouldn't have worked, but I had the knowledge. So the positive, I had the knowledge to know that it would be better to rip it out, cast it on. It was only 41 stitches, not a big, if it was 400 stitches, then that would be a whole different conversation. But it was only 41, so it wasn't a big deal. It didn't really slow me down that much, and I wasn't doing anything important. So that's kind of where my mind is right now. Looking at things on the bright side, you know, the song being on the sunny side of the street. Grass is always greener. Well, the grass will be green if you water it where you are. That's the truth of it. We like to think that somebody else's life is better than ours, but we haven't lived their lives. We don't know what their lives are like, do we? We don't know the details. They may not really be happy. We don't know. And is it our business to know? Probably not. It might be our business to know if there's something wrong that we can help with, but generally speaking, it's none of our business. Anyway, I hope that you have enjoyed this video and enjoyed my little knit-along thingy here. In my year of socks, I'm a little bit behind, but I started out the month a little bit behind. So anyway, there you have it. And that's okay, because I'm only doing this for me and I don't need to beat myself up about it, right? Right. Anyway, have a great rest of your week, great weekend ahead, and may we all continue to find the blessings in the day. Bye for now.